morning, folks.
Good morning.
It's good to see you all this morning. I'm Nancy Case, and I have a little gift shop downtown called the Red Ribbon, co-hosting Brene Beatty.
Animal lover.
Animal lover and retired so that she can love animals.
Yes, look at this baby.
She has the most precious thing in her lap. We're going to do a little bit of deviation today. Not that Brene and I don't usually digress on this show,
Yes.
but Brene and I are going to do the first two segments, and then we're going to leave the stage, disappear, so that Tracy O'Connell and the museum folks can have the stage and tell you about, I think Charlie Fletcher, an author, is coming on, and Tracy has a new intern. So with only 3 seats on the stage, we thought, well, we'll just give 2 of ours up and let them have it, and it'll be okay.
We're so nice like that,
We
aren't
are. We are. So this will be our community events and our four-legged friend.
Yes.
This is Savannah.
We think she's maybe Dachshund. She's got a long body,
well,
short legs.
Little corgi look to her, maybe.
Yeah.
A little
Cocker,
bit of
maybe. Look
cocker,
at these ears. She's a
freckles
mix.
on her nose. She's
a
absolutely
mix.
adorable. She can be adopted Friday.
Yes, tomorrow.
And
should be available.
And she is about 8 weeks old.
Yeah.
She is puppy number 809. Now,
Write this
not
down.
dog number 809. She's puppy 809. She's a stray. She was found on Woodlawn Street. And, of course, you know, the names we give them are just, we give them, you know. Animal control comes in and says this is so-and-so. Because when they check in at the shelter, they can't tell us their names. So we're calling her Savannah because she is absolutely, her markings are gorgeous. Little freckles on her nose.
And she was just running around here like you wouldn't believe. I mean,
she's
she is.
torn your microphone off.
Uh-oh. She is a happy.
She's a happy camper.
She is a happy camper, and she's a beautiful dog, and she looks to be a very healthy dog.
Yes.
And I don't know exactly how much more. Her paws are kind of large, but not like Saint Bernard
Or
size
lab.
or lab even. But she is absolutely precious. And Brene's having a terrible time here with her microphone. It's just not wanting.
Well, I don't want her to.
How about getting it up there on your collar, Brene?
Do I have a collar?
Yeah, I mean up there on your. There we go. And,
Okay.
And
there.
so,
I'm okay.
All right. Now let's talk just a minute. The phone numbers are for the no kill 464-6070.
And you call that number, and they will put her on the safe list. You can call anytime, 24 hours, and you have to put not Savannah. They don't know her by Savannah.
No,
It's
809.
Puppy 809. Puppy 809. Okay. Excuse me. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're doing good. And then the phone number at the Hill Street Shelter is 479-2122.
Yes.
And so you can call over there. Their hours are 10 to 5.
They open at 11.
11 to 5.
Yeah.
And so you can call over there. But here again, now don't say, I want that puppy that I saw, that Savannah puppy I saw on TV. They won't have a clue who you're talking about. Although we know who you are, sweetheart. You are absolutely adorable. And she is puppy 809.
Uh-oh, I'm getting her excited.
Yes, don't do that.
I know, I'm trying to calm her down.
Now,
calm down, baby.
The way this works is if you want to adopt her, it's a $50 fee.
Yes.
And that $50 then will get her spayed. Which is a good thing.
Yes.
And they will take her directly from the shelter to the veterinarians.
Yes.
And she will be spayed, and the veterinarian will call you when this is done, and her first round of shots will be given. And that is at
Dixie Day
Dixie Day
and Appalachian. Yeah. Now you can take it to have her take it to whichever vet you want to, but there may be additional charges at the other
and
vets.
those will be out of your pocket.
Yes.
In addition to the $50.
Yes.
But she is absolutely, folks, absolutely
precious. She is precious.
And she's the kind of dog that you just want to wool, which is what Brene keeps doing after she gets calmed down. She just wants to. I had her up here in my lap a few minutes ago, just looked at me at the face and everything.
She is so
She
sweet.
is just too cute. And
if
yes,
I was just going to say, if somebody gets ahead of you, because it is first come, first serve.
Yes,
Even
it
if
is.
you call and put her on the safe list, if you're not there when somebody else comes to get her, then you're out of luck. So you need to get there early. We've had people there at 6 o'clock before to wait until 11 to pick up a dog they really, really wanted. So
well, she is really, really precious.
But if you don't get her Saturday, this is something new. The fosters for the animal shelter are full. So they're having an adoption event for dogs that have been adopted to rehome, fostered. Right now we don't have a foster program per se. So you can go to Jordan's Barbecue this Saturday at 10:30 until 2:30 or 10 until 2:30. Anyway, you can go to the animal control website and get all of the information there. Now there is, so you have to, the dog has to be in, it doesn't have to be in animal control. I guess if you just have a foster dog, it has to be spayed, you have to have proof of rabies, and there's some other stuff. It has to be on a leash and everything. So you can look on their website or their Facebook page, and that's Cleveland, Tennessee Animal Control, and that's what you would look up on Facebook. And then there's a regular Cleveland for a No-Kill adoption event, and those are animals that are still at animal control, and that's going to be again at Tractor Supply this Saturday. So go by there first, because they are urgent generally, and if you don't see one you like, then go on up to the barbecue place and see what you can find. Yes, baby.
Just precious. And,
yes.
and folks, remember, we are not fully a no-kill city yet, but we are trying to get there. And so sometimes there's a time limit on some of these animals.
Yes.
Now, this one is precious, and she needs a home.
Yes, and you need to spay and neuter your animals.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
that will solve a lot of these problems.
It will.
Of all of these dogs. And if you have a dog and you can't take care of it anymore, call Lindsay over at Animal Control. I don't have her phone number. I was running out of the house late today.
We're
And
panicked today.
anyway, she will help you try,
Yes,
give
girl.
you some options rather than bringing it over to the Animal Control. Animal Control drop off when you surrender your animals should be the very last option.
Absolutely. Now, we want to give you a
700.
few little community event situations, and we'll go back to Savannah in a minute.
Oh, okay.
First of all,
we're getting
Messages
Lindsay's.
from the sidelines.
Yes.
Lindsay's phone number.
7.
But I want to congratulate Steve Robinson and Cameron Fisher. They were the award winners Tuesday night at the Chamber of Commerce annual event. Cameron won the Robert Varnell Award, and Steve Robinson won the MC Hedrick Business Award.
And he's the new president, isn't he?
And he's also the
Yeah.
new president. And what's really funny, we sit there at the chamber event, and we look at who's coming in and who brings family and who does all of this to figure these people out. Well, I already knew who the Varnell Award winner was because I was presenting that award. But we didn't figure Steve out because Steve's family all came anyway because he was being installed as president.
Oh, that's right.
So we all
Sneaky.
They were terribly sneaky to us. But anyway, congratulations to those two fellows for
Yes.
those well-deserved awards.
Yes.
Well-deserved. And the weather yesterday was absolutely terrible.
Awful. Awful. Did you hear about Adairsville? Oh, God, they had cars being turned over. They had a touchdown with a tornado.
Oh, my gosh.
In Adairsville, close 75, north and south.
Well, it was
Yeah,
terrible.
it was
and,
awful.
And, after our experiences in 11 and 12 both, we kind of
Get nervous.
suck it up when
Yeah.
they say, and straight line winds and all this kind of stuff. And then today, there's no telling what today will be.
This weather is so squirrely.
It is.
I mean,
It's really squirrely.
It was
And-
almost 70 degrees yesterday and day before.
I know.
Up in the mid 60s.
Well, 60s,
It was,
and
and at night.
in the 50s at night.
It's
I mean,
ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. So, years ago, not years ago, but a while ago, Renee and I quit giving the weather because
Because
we just don't know. Just
No.
you can wait and see who else wants to tell you the weather, but it's not going to be us. Because
They don't
I figure
pay
it's
us
guesswork.
enough to
Absolutely,
predict
it's total
weather.
guesswork. Total
Yes.
guesswork. We usually tell you about things that are going on at the library.
Yeah.
So what we suggest to you today is that you go to their website, or
Yes.
you even go down there, folks. If you've not visited,
I saw in the paper, do you know what they're offering now?
No.
I think this is the most wonderful thing. Children's parties. You can, if you have small children, or older, I guess, but older children don't. But anyway, if you have small children, you can have a party at the library, and it's not just you come for story time. They'll do games. They'll do. You just come and enjoy. They do everything.
how neat. Do
Talk
I have
to
to
them.
bring my own cake and everything?
I don't know. From what I understood, you can bring your own cake, but I mean they'll do the plates, paper plates, hats,
neat.
everything. They'll have people there to, organize the games and all. They probably will have a story time. It is a library after all.
Well, yes,
but
of course.
Isn't that a great idea?
I think that's a super idea.
I do too.
Absolutely
So
super.
call them if you have a
Right, and we
children's
tried
birthday
to be
party.
sure
Yes.
that's not the best kept secret in Cleveland, Bradley County.
Right.
And another thing I want you all to be aware of is we
she's gone to
have.
sleep.
Oh, Savannah's gone to sleep. We have. I'll speak softly.
Yes.
We have a new airport in Cleveland. We are so thrilled. Grand opening was Friday. In the sleet, hail, snow, and whatever else we had Friday.
I admire y'all. I
And
didn't go.
I know. And I want to thank the Cleveland State ambassadors, Lee University ambassadors, Chamber ambassadors who gave tours and helped us out that day. And those students from Cleveland State and Lee University were running around all over the place with umbrellas and trying to unload people. And we had golf carts, but folks, when it's raining sideways and sleeting, golf carts don't really help you a whole lot. So,
Nope.
So we had we had over 600 people go through.
That's fabulous.
Friday, it's just absolutely phenomenal. We had the first plane landed on Thursday, and then right after it, 6 more planes came in. I mean, we really looked like an airport.
Which is always nice.
It is. It really, really is. Taylor Newman with Crystal Air is the FBO, and Mark Fiddler is our manager out there. So let me just invite you all. It's your airport.
Yes, and Mark said
So,
come out. They'd be glad to show you
Come
around.
out. They will show you around, and it's phenomenal, folks. I mean, it is truly phenomenal. And when you drive up to it, you will say, "Holy smoke, we've got something like that." And
Lindsay's phone number.
And also, I had several people who have flown into numerous airports throughout their flying career and said it was by far the best they'd ever flown into. So
great.
it is really the new front door to Cleveland, and you all really need drive out there, Stewart Road out to Antonio's restaurant right there. Turn left. And they keep saying Dry Valley Road, but I think that's going to say Tasso Road.
It does. It
Anyway,
turns into Dry
you've got
Valley, I
Michigan
think, yeah.
Avenue. And so go on out there, folks, and you'll see it. Now, we're coming up on a commercial break here, so let me give you Lindsay's number, 779-2877. Now, this is Lindsay Smith. She works for Animal Control. And so if you have any questions or want to know about anything, and Savannah has gone just flat asleep, folks.
She was
is
just so excited.
She was so excited about being on TV. And 8 weeks old, she is adoptable
she's ready
tomorrow.
to go to
Friday,
your home.
Friday. She
Yes,
do not
Friday,
go by today unless you want to camp out all day today and be there at 11 o'clock Friday. But she is available Friday. So this is probably the sweetest dog. And Brewster last week was adopted.
It was close.
So, yeah,
It was close.
Yeah, it was close, but Brewster was adopted.
He found a
Folks,
home.
don't go away. We'll be right back with
Yes.
our two-legged friend, Judy Baker from Cleveland Storytellers Guild. So don't go away.
We'll be.
Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, have built a firm offering quality legal services to the people and businesses of Southeast Tennessee. We have achieved expertise in all areas of law in order to represent our clients in a manner they need, deserve, and have come to expect. Logan Thompson, with 9 attorneys and an extensive and competent support staff, is available to provide representation in various legal areas, including family law, Social Security benefits, personal injury, criminal defense, workmen's compensation, as well as business and complex litigation matters. At Logan Thompson, we have been building a tradition of legal services for over 40 years. We have developed the finest legal services and are proficient in providing you with representation you can trust. Give us a call at 423-476-2251 to schedule your free consultation.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
And we are back, and I told you we'd be back with Two-Legged Friend, and we are. This is Judy Baker.
our two-legged
Judy's
friend.
one of our good visitors
Yes.
on the show. We love it because she's with the Cleveland Storytelling Guild. She may or may not tell a story today, because I told her what I'd rather her do is to tell the Storyteller Guild story. And so
That's a story.
it is a story.
Yeah, especially the way she tells it.
And then they have something exciting going to happen next week, and that will be back on with us next week. So start me off about who are the storytellers?
We are people who love the spoken word. That's all you have to do, is be somebody that loves the spoken word. People might think, oh, it's just for kids, y'all just sit around and read books. No, I mean, we will read books. I have read books aloud to people
yes,
before.
you have. Uh-huh.
But it's speaking. It's having a story. Everybody has a story. You know, when you go home after this, you're going to tell somebody about that beautiful little dog, and
Oh, I am.
you've told somebody something.
I've got that written down. He's 809.
We tell kids when we have an opportunity, when you go home from school today, and you're going to tell mommy and daddy or grandma or sister, you would not believe what happened in the cafeteria today. You're telling a story. People
Right.
think they have to be on stage to tell a story. Now, we like to be on stage and tell stories,
Of course you do.
but you don't have to. You just have to love words.
Well, I used to do, when I taught second grade at Inglewood, I used to do for Mother's Day, a cookbook. And I would get each of the children to come up and sit by me and tell me how Mama cooked
Oh, yeah.
their favorite food. Now, folks, that's hysterical.
I have one of those at home.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
And then I would print those out, and they would take them home for their mothers for Mother's Day. But those were wonderful stories that those children were telling.
Exactly.
And we were so excited about it.
400 eggs.
Yeah,
400 eggs at 1,000 degrees.
Cook it for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so actually the Guild is an organization.
It's an organization. We began back in 1991 with a group of people. Several were teachers, some were librarians, some were retired, just people who loved story. Got together, decided they wanted to have a group that met regularly to celebrate the world of story, and we've been meeting ever since. 18 years ago.
See, that's amazing.
18 years. 18 years ago.
Aren't y'all like the longest?
We are the longest running
Yeah.
outside of Jonesboro.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
Jonesboro holds all those records for storytelling.
I
yes.
always say outside of Jonesboro, because people do equate storytelling with Jonesboro.
They do.
Just like the Ryman Auditorium is to country music,
Yeah.
Jonesboro, Tennessee is to storytelling.
Right.
But we've had festivals come and go. There was a festival in Pigeon Forge, the Smoky Mountain Storytelling Festival. It folded after many years.
Wow.
We had, there was a festival in Chattanooga that folded after, I think, 5 years. And we have held on, this will be our 18th.
That's
See,
fabulous.
that's wonderful.
And
Absolutely
we,
fantastic.
Lots of people who love the spoken word.
That's
Lots
exactly
of
right.
people. And we've always taken our storytellers into schools.
Yes.
So in the last 17 years, and then not counting the hundreds that will hear our teller this year, we have probably told stories to thousands of students.
Well, and when you take them into the school, you're growing your own.
We're growing our audience. That's what we're doing. We're growing our audience.
That's exactly
maybe your
right.
storytellers too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Children love story. And the wonderful thing about telling a story versus reading a story, and reading, we're not putting down reading. Read to your kids, read to your kids, read to your kids.
Absolutely.
Read to your kids.
But a book is still a barrier. There's still something between you and that person. And even if you know the story, you're still going to have to look at it every now and then. But when I'm
if they're
telling
small,
a story,
they'll know if you miss a
they
word.
will.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
But if you're telling a story, you connect. And that's one good thing about our festival. We're small. We're not like Jonesboro. Jonesboro has 10,000 people that come.
And if anybody's ever been to Jonesboro,
Oh, it's-
where in the world they put 10,000 people?
That's more than the people in the town, I think.
They shut the town down.
Yeah.
They literally shut the town down, and they put big circus tents all over. And you're in a tent with like 1,100 people. And the power of story, you could hear a pin drop, if you could hear a pin drop on the grass. And it's that way, even in Cleveland, it's that way. We don't have big circus tents that hold 1,100 people, but still, when our storytellers start, literally, just you can hear a pin drop because they so connect with our audiences. We've had storytellers for Ocoee Story Fest come to us from California. We've had storytellers come from Maine. Megan Hicks, who will be here next week, is coming from Pennsylvania.
And she'll be on the show with us next week.
She'll be on with us next week, and it will be a hoot. I have been emailing her with arrangements and scheduling and everything, and just
She's a
get
hoot.
ready. It is going to be fun.
That is great. Now, let's talk about she'll go into 6 schools.
She'll go into 6 schools, all the way from 2nd grade up to an English class at Walker Valley High School.
How neat.
Oh, fabulous.
That will be a small session, but she'll be able to connect with high school students and learn the connection between writing and speaking. Because writing is actually a second language. We speak before we write.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Megan's going to be able to talk to a high school class about that, but she's also going to tell stories to 2nd graders.
Cool.
So through Arts and Education, through the Allied Arts Council of the Cleveland-Bradley County Chamber of Commerce.
Let's get our plug in there.
I can say that 6 times at 6 schools.
And you can contribute to this organization by coming to Cherry's Jubilee
April
and
the
buying
12th.
April the 12th. Okay.
Well, that's where we get our funding to put her into school. She is a visiting artist. We help out by providing the artist, and we provide her transportation, we provide her lodging, we do the scheduling, and Allied Arts and Arts and Education provides the funding for the school visits. But we will not only have her in schools, but she will also have a storytelling concert on Friday night, February the 8th at 7 o'clock at the Museum Center at 5 Points. And the Museum Center is a co-sponsor with us because they are being an in-kind sponsor, giving us the space. The storytelling concert will start at 7, and it's $5 a person, but with a family maximum of $15.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, such
so
a
if you've got
deal.
5 kids, then
You won't spend more than $15.
Made out like a
Very
bandit.
good.
That's
It
great.
is going to be,
Yes.
it'll be a cheap date.
That's right.
Or it'll be a good place to take your kids. It's going to be family-friendly stories. But I will emphasize, it's not going to be little baby kid stories.
Goldilocks.
No. If it is, it will be her version.
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
heard her slant on some.
Really?
I have heard her slant on some the 3 Pigs.
Oh, really?
Okay. And what date is that now?
Next Friday, not this Friday.
Okay.
Next Friday, February the 8th, at 7 o'clock at the Museum Center at 5 Points.
Okay.
And the guild, you were asking about the guild.
Yes.
If you want to know more about stories, you don't have to wait for one of our events. Come to the Cleveland Library, to the big community room. Beautiful facility. If you haven't been to the library, shame on you.
Absolutely.
Go
We tell people that
today.
all the
Yes.
time.
And go get a library card.
Yes.
And come on the 2nd Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock we have an hour to an hour and 15 minutes worth of nothing but stories.
Now, you all do have a business meeting, but you do that after. Right.
And everybody's welcome to stay for the business meeting, but more likely than not, we're just going to say, hey, we'll take a break for 5 minutes, everybody come back, and we'll just tell more stories until the library runs us out. And they do turn the lights off. And we do have to leave.
Oh, darn.
But the public is invited. We have other events through the year. We have Celebration in November. We have Warm Stories and Hot Cider, which I told you all about. We had a wonderful turnout in January for that.
That is super.
Just watch media outlets, watch this show, because Nancy's real good about
I love having them on, because one thing that they do is, we raise all this money with Cherry's Jubilee. Then we need visiting artists to go in the schools. So the very first thing we do is call the Storytellers Guild and say, who do you have coming in this year for your celebration? Can we book her or him in the schools? And for the past several years, we've been able to do that. So it's kind of a
win-win.
It's a win-win. It's a real win-win.
We have just enjoyed our partnership with Allied Arts and Arts and Ed, because storytelling is an art that you don't need any special equipment for. You don't have to have special training. You don't have to build a stadium. You don't have to blow up a ball. You don't have to have any equipment. All you have to have is a desire to communicate. And a few minutes ago I said, you love the spoken word, but any way you can communicate, you're going to be able to tell a story.
When I was at City Park Elementary School in Athens, for any of you from McMinn County that are listening today, Prof. Powers was the principal at City Park, and he was wonderful. He told the Jack Tales, and that made me, when I got to be a teenager, I bought a Jack Tales book so that I could learn to do that. And when I was teaching school, I told a few of the Jack Tales. So, see, it does rub off on you.
Was it the Richard Chase book?
Yes.
Richard Chase, back in the 30s, I think it was, traveled through Appalachia looking for the Jack Tales. And what a lot of people don't know is those Jack Tales came to America from Europe. One of the stories I tell is Jack Gets a Job, or Lazy Jack. Well, that came from England. Jack and the Giant.
Yes.
That came from Europe.
And those are great stories.
Yeah.
And they really entertained the classrooms of the kids. But now, next week, we will have Megan Hicks on with us. And I'm sure Judy will be back with Megan to get her here. But we're excited that we're going to be able to do this. And so you can see Megan. But now, real quickly, because we're running up on a commercial, can you tell me the schools? We're going to Walker Valley.
We're going to Walker Valley. You would ask me.
I know.
Hopewell, Tennessee Christian, Taylor, Hopewell, Tennessee Christian. I had to look at my schedule.
I know, there's just two more.
Christian.
Any city schools?
Let's see.
Oh, well.
Okay, well, we're going into
two others.
schools, and I'm sorry, but she'll tell us next week.
I just went. Cleveland Middle. She's doing an after-school program for some at-risk students at Cleveland Middle in their library.
I knew that. So
You knew that.
I did. I knew that from a previous conversation. So we're excited about Megan Hicks coming in. We're excited about Judy being on with us today. And let me tell you real briefly now, Brene and I and Judy are leaving the stage, and Tracy O'Connell is coming on with an author and an intern. And I don't mean a medical intern. So Brene and I would like to wish you a great day, and we're going to skedaddle so these other people can come on, and the next half of the show is theirs. So come back and join us next week, but do not turn the dial, because Tracy and the other folks will be on in just a minute. So we'll be right back.
Good stuff.
Good stuff
to talk about.
Right back.
Right back.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Logan Thompson, attorneys at law, have built a firm offering quality legal services to the people and businesses of Southeast Tennessee. We have achieved expertise in all areas of law in order to represent our clients in a manner they need, deserve, and have come to expect. Logan Thompson, with 9 attorneys and an extensive and competent support staff, is available to provide representation in various legal areas, including family law, Social Security benefits, personal injury, criminal defense, workmen's compensation, as well as business and complex litigation matters. At Logan Thompson, we have been building a tradition of legal services for over 40 years. We have developed the finest legal services and are proficient in providing you with representation you can trust. Give us a call at 423-476-2251 to schedule your free consultation.
Featuring some of the South's most scenic views, the Mountain View Inn has been a landmark in the Cleveland community for over 40 years. Our executive guest quarters with flat-screen TVs and excellent bedding will make any guest comfortable. Carrie's Restaurant is one of Cleveland's favorite, with one of the best buffets around.
Hello, and on behalf of the Hughes family, thank you for so many years of your business and your friendship.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Good morning. Welcome back. I'm glad you came back to meet with me, Tracy O'Connell, and my intern for this semester at the Museum Center at 5 Points, and her name is Sarah Buckner. She's a UTC student at in communications, public relations, and also with Charlie Fletcher, who is a local celebrity these days. He's a local author and also a very good friend of mine. So we're going to be talking with him in just a few minutes about his career in the later part of his life as an author, a budding new award-winning author. But first, I wanted to talk to Sarah just a little bit because we've been very blessed to have Sarah Buckner join us at the museum. This is her second week on the job, and she's helping me interview today. And I thought maybe she could just introduce herself a little bit, tell you all a little bit about herself and what she's enjoyed most at the museum so far.
Yes, thank you, Tracy. I have very much enjoyed learning about the different local authors and artists that are featured at the Museum Center. And there's so much that's going on right now at the Museum Center at 5 Points. They've got a lot of festivals and events, and it's just really exciting to get to be a part of that.
And as a local girl, you probably came as a kid with maybe some school classes?
Yeah, I went on a field trip when I was in elementary school to the museum.
So she is not a newcomer to the museum, but she is getting to enjoy firsthand what goes on, quote, behind the scenes. We get to do a little bit of everything at the museum, don't we, Sarah?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Sarah mentioned some things that were coming up at the museum, and I thought I might mention those before I really turn the show over to focusing on Mr. Fletcher's books. The Museum Center has a lot of events, as you all know, throughout the year. We have the gala in September. We just finished one of our most successful and fun annual events, the Grape Escape, and Kathy Rosenberger does a great job with that every year. And Ken and Jan from the museum were very involved in that and enjoyed that on Sunday afternoon. It was very successful. And Saturday, our new curator of collections, Lisa Chastain, kicked off her first exhibit with the quilt show. And this is our 12th quilt show. And we now have mugs every year that feature the viewer's choice from the year before and the opportunity quilt, which are two of the finest quilts every year. So you can take home a piece of the quilt show with you, enjoy it every morning with your coffee, or make a day of it for Valentine's and bring your mom or a good friend and enjoy the quilt show, and then take home a quilt mug as a souvenir and collect all. This is our 6th year doing the quilt show mug. So, and real quick, some of the things that are coming up in the next few months. The quilt show is through March 9th. Next Saturday night, next Friday evening, as Judy was just saying, we have the big Ocoee celebration. So the Storytelling Guild will have its big event. February 7th, we have the community band concert. That's Thursday night. After the quilt show, we have the Tennessee Sampler Survey, which is an exhibit of samplers. And you're invited, if you have a sampler that is beautiful or old or you're proud of it, please bring it, or call Lisa Chastain at the museum and see if it's something that we can actually use in our exhibit. From March to May, we have a student art show with Lee University students. April, we have the Brouhaha. It was very successful last August, and it's coming back. Thank you, Van Deacon, for that wonderful idea, and the whole staff who ran it. April through July, we have a Benjamin Cleveland exhibit. The end of April, we have our art festival, and that's the 26th through the 28th. That's our 3-day art festival. We have a big Cherokee Day coming in May, and new author Ron Cooper is going to come and give some presentations that week to some schools and also at the museum about his Walking the Trail of Tears 2 winters ago. And he stopped by the museum last Friday, and we got to meet he and his wife Crystal, and they're really neat people. He's going to love meeting Charlie when he comes, because we'll drag Charlie out for that as well. He's also coming, Ron Cooper, the new author, is also coming to the art festival in April, so you'll get to meet him then. And then from May to July, we have the Civil War in Bradley County exhibit. So lots of fun stuff coming up. And I've mentioned everybody at the museum staff except Jennifer White, and she does a great job in education. Jan, the bookkeeper Nyman, is also in everything we do. So we have a great staff there, and Sarah is lucky enough to be able to twitter around with us and go office and office and desk to desk, and whatever we throw at her, she's like, I can do that, I can do that. So far she's fitting in really well, and we've loved having her.
Thank you.
Sarah has had the opportunity to get to know Charlie a little bit because she knew he was going to be on the show. And so I might let her introduce Charlie a little bit and maybe ask Charlie a couple of questions. Charlie, in kicking things over to you and Sarah, is there anything you want to tell us about yourself before we start with the professional questions?
Well, don't expect too much I'm a 91-year-old man. And not only that, 2 years ago I had a serious stroke. So some of the words, I memory and everything, but sometimes I have problems saying what I want to say. You understand? Mm-hmm. But it'll come out, I think.
I have to share this wonderful little anecdote before I let Sarah take over. On the way over to the studio this morning, I asked Charlie about typing. I said, for someone in your generation, it's amazing to me that at 85 years old...
91.
But when you started, were you 85 when you started, or 80?
About 82.
He was 82 when he started writing books. And I said, how do you, keyboard? And tell them the story about where you learned to keyboard and how you keyboard.
Well, I was at the CCC camps up in the Smokies,
And these were in the
Yeah, it was back in 1930s and early 40s. It's that during the, it's one of President Roosevelt's trying to get people out of a depression. And he had a lot for children and everything. And I was the assistant clerk in the park up there. There was 2,000 people in the Smokies, CCC. It was 10 camps with 200 each.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's only about, I guess there's less than 15 of us left.
Wow.
And
nationwide, there are 15?
But I'd never seen a typewriter. Well, I did, I saw it in school. But I had to type in reports for the Mr. Rosser. He's the superintendent of Tennessee Animal over there. And I learned to type like this, and then I finally ended up with 3 fingers on each hand. And my children and my grandchildren, they've tried to teach me to do better, but I can't.
You still type
so
with the 6?
I go like this.
Yeah, and you've written 6 books that way, and you're working.
I'm on the 7th book now. And so
that's so cool.
It's I guess you can do anything you want to if you decide. But first of all, I'm not an author. I don't claim to be an author. And in my books, I don't put anything in there about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the roads and the things like that. That is that's to fill in. All the facts in my books mean something. There's no fill in there. You won't find a thing in there about the flowers. These are the pictures of the place where the stories are.
Yeah.
The first 2 books I have are real books. I say real books. All of my books are history books, but this book is the names, the places, and everything is real. So it's not fiction.
And tell us.
And the award is a historical fiction.
The award.
It's a historical on this. Mm-hmm. And you want to tell you a little about the books?
Yeah, and we were interested to know how you.
Well, this is the first book, and the reason that I started writing the book, I was 82 years old. I left. I was born and raised in those mountains in North Carolina, and I was 32. And it was 1953 when I came to Cleveland. Well, my children and my grandchildren were small. They didn't know anything about the mountains. And I grew up during the Depression years and I all on through the World War II and all. So they'd say, "Grandpa, what did you do up in those mountains?" And I'd tell them a little. And this went on after the children and my grandchildren, and now up to my great-grandchildren. So I got to thinking I should document something, because I'm going to be gone someday, and nobody will know what I lived through, and the things that I saw, and the things that I remember. All my books are from memory, and they're all true except the 4 that I had to change names. I was getting in trouble. So this book is sort of a hodgepodge type of a book. I started writing this book for my children. I started writing this book in 1927. I'd started to school. I was born in 1922. And the book is sort of a hodgepodge. And I start the stories in the book at my age there. And it's actually things that happened to me. And back then, people, it's not like today. At 10 or 12 years old, you went to work. You done something. So I wrote in here about starting at the end, and it's all stories about different things. And I carry through from 1927 through the 30s, and then the CCs in 1939-40. And then where I took it, I was up in Virginia. The story is the continuity goes through the story until the last chapter in this book. And it's a sad chapter. And it's living alone. And my wife died over 8 years ago. So that gave me to thinking more why I should document and tell
And tell us about the name of the book too.
The name of the book is Out West and Back. And the reason for the Out West part is in 1925, our house burned. And my grandfather had a ranch in Greeley, Colorado. And we had nothing. And he sent back then it was just a train. There wasn't no bridges, no. And he sent us tickets, and we went out west to live with him, because we'd lost everything in the house. There was 3 children, me, my brother, and my oldest sister at that time.
Did your parents go too?
Yeah, the whole family went. And it was right in the starting the bad part of the Depression. My grandpa, he lost everything out there. I don't know how many thousand acres he had. He lost everything, so he left and came back to North Carolina. If you look on the map on the Waynesville and Cleveland, Waynesville and Canton on I-40, you see up there is a mountain, Presley Mountain. My grandfather owned all that before he went to, and he lost everything.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But Grandpa come back, and well, 2 women here. Women want to go with their family. It's just a natural instinct, I guess. So we stayed on, and Mom was on Dad all the time. We wanted to go back to North Carolina. So he buys an old T-model Ford. I don't even know what model it was. Threw the seats and everything back, and little keepsakes that my mother wanted stuck down in there, and some blankets up on it. And me and my brother and my sister slept there. It took us 11 days to drive from there back to North Carolina.
Wow. With everything you owned in the
and
car?
So that's where I got the Out West and Back. And after then I tell about that. And then I start in here on the story, and it goes on through. And there's not much foolishness in this book like some of the others. So that was in 1952.
Let me show you a picture.
That was 1944 when I was in England during World War II. So it is a hodgepodge thing, and it ends up. So in the last chapter of that, Trace, chapter that made me want to write the book more, because I had a lot of void in my life when my wife died. And I didn't have a computer. I didn't even plan to one. I didn't want one. But I won't advertise for somebody, but I went over to a computer store in Chattanooga, and I bought an old the cheapest computer I could find. I didn't know how to turn the thing on. I brought it home and set it. And my grandson he has a doctor's degree. He went 9 years in computer development, and he stayed with me all the time on the weekends.
And helped you get that going.
Yeah. And he taught me how to turn it on and off and how to type on it.
Even though he couldn't get you using all 10 fingers,
Yeah, that's still this way. I wrote the first book, and it was pitiful. I tried. I went over to one of the ladies over at the Banner, asked her about editing my book. Yeah, she would. She looked at it. Well, I hadn't got time. Nobody didn't want to look at it. I went to my pastor, and they didn't want to look at it. It was terrible. So my oldest son, he taught some at UT. He has a master's degree in English, and he taught school all this time. So I put it on him, and he did a pretty good job.
Aww. It's a great book. I've read all of them, I have to say.
And he did a good job on it, so he's my editor.
Yeah?
And that's,
so did you have to rewrite it before it was published,
well,
or you just edited it?
Yeah, but there again, I was an electrical engineer. Now, you could take me out of the mountains, but the mountains will never go out of me. And I know better, but anyway, I talked like I did and everything. I had a professor in the school at Mars Hill, And he wasn't from the mountains. Raymond DeShazo, I'll never forget him. And I had to take a course on speaking. And he tore me off. He was from up north, so he had a,
Had a good time with you.
He wasn't a part of us. Anyway, I did pass. But I still...
Well, real quick, since you mentioned about your career as an electrical engineer, share with us what you did, what brought you to Cleveland, and you were with Bowater, is that right?
Well, like a lot of other, I'll say young boys, when I was young, I went to service. Our education was cut short because of World War II. And I had seventh, I was going to 8th grade in high school. And I had to quit and went into CCCs and work and help feed the family. Somebody had to. We got $30, they paid $1 a day, $30 a month. I got $25 went to my family. So that is starting. So I didn't finish my engineering until I moved to Cleveland. I went to Mars Hill, finished at UT. Everywhere I lived, I went to a school. And it took me from 19 I was 26 years old. It took me about 8 years or so. But I got a degree in engineering. But I worked in engineering from when I came with Bowater for 30 years. And I worked in engineering there.
And you retired with Bowater?
So that was the education on there, and on the education. Now this book is that book is short stories. Well, I like that. And in the mountains, all those people up there are storytellers. That's the entertainment.
And that's what's so good about your stories.
The
when
stories
I read them, I felt like I was just sitting down listening to
here are
Charlie
all
tell me a
stories
story.
that my father and my uncles, my aunts, and I became a part of some of them. These stories, and this is a true story.
So the second book, show the second book,
This is the second
Charlie.
book. It's the
called
Panther Out Mountain and Other Stories. And the reason I call it the Panther Out Mountain, that was a longer story, and my dad told it. Gee whiz, I bet I heard it 30 or 40 times, and it was a good one. And it was about him, the first panther he ever saw while he was up in the mountains, and he was only 16 or 17-year-old. Like I say, my memory's good, but I get my words mixed up sometimes. Anyway, I said, this is good. I'm not through writing. So quick as I finished this, I sit down, and I wrote this, and the same publisher did these, and I had a terrible publisher up in Baltimore. I didn't know any better. I took the first one that come along. So I said this, and this is it's a bunch of stories. Some are funny, and some are serious. And the first story is about the panther on Coal Mountain. And all of these stories are true. So that is the second story.
So true, memoirs,
Yeah,
and then we get to...
And then, but between, I wrote those two first, and then I said, well, I hadn't run out of stories. I still write stories. I write for the CCC Museum up in Edinburgh, Virginia. And if you look at, you write this down. If you, today, I have an article I write papers for the Asheville. It's a blog, and it comes out 7 days a week, every year, the whole year in Asheville. And I had this plan, and I wrote this little story about Porgy and the Bear, and it's a story about it's true in the CCCs, and write down, and you can go to your computer now, tonight, it's already on.
Okay.
And write on Google and search, go to Google and put Tipper Presley, Tipper Pressley.
Okay.
And it should come up, and she tells you all about it, and you can pick up the story, Porgy and the Bear. And you can read it today, and I'll guarantee you there'll be 50 or 60 comments on there.
That's awesome. That's wonderful.
And I write books to her all the time.
The producer just mentioned that we're down to just a few more minutes left. We just went all the way through and skipped commercials. So I did want you to tell us about
this is fiction. I said, well, I've told enough stories, so this is a true story. The girl was 15-year-old. The boy was 17-year-old. And this is not, I changed this picture. Up here on Little Sam Mountain, this is actually the picture. And I hunted when I was 12, 14-year-old. I'd go hunting up there. And I decided to go back back to the end of the mountain. I left before daylight in the morning. I knew my way through the woods. And it seemed like if the families up at homesteaded in those mountains, they always had 2 sisters or 2 brothers. They went in pairs. And I could tell you that, well, I won't tell you that, I had to, all fiction. And when I was up there, it gave me an idea about, well, tell something other than stories. So I didn't know the boy and the girl. I had to change the name. I call them John and Sarah.
And they were so
but
popular.
actually, and I changed. I called one Dowdy and one Smith.
Yeah.
But the true names I still know.
Yeah.
I didn't know them, but I mean, I knew their parents.
Right.
Well, I'd stop, and those people up there, when you stop, I'd pass there by noon. And usually if I'd kill 2 or 3 squirrels or a pheasant, I'd give them to them. When I come back through, they'd have them cooked on a fireplace. And you had to eat with them. You get mad.
Yeah. I remember reading about it.
So that's what this is about. Now this book, it didn't end happily ever after because I wasn't through with it. The publisher I had that did this book and another is a professor up at Boone, North Carolina. And he says, Charles, don't write your books over 200 pages. People don't have time for that.
So now we have 2, and you're working on the 3rd.
And I wrote this one in, and I wasn't through with it. So I got up to about 190 pages, and it didn't. I'm not going to tell you how I was going to give this to
Mr. Palo.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll bring you one up there for her.
Okay.
And so I ended it that way, and then I skipped between this. People liked it, and they asked me to write the second book, but I didn't write the second book. I went to this, and I love this book.
The Sheriff, and that was a great book.
The Sheriff.
It won a lot of awards,
Yeah, the Sheriff.
And you know what, Charlie? We're going to have to get you to come back again because we have flat run out of time.
Well, I'm not even high.
I know. We're going to have to get you to come back, but I also wanted to mention this one because I love this one.
This is a real good one, and it's true. And my uncles read it. They were in this Run Moonshine. I used their names.
Well, let me tell you what. You guys come join us at the Art Festival the end of April. And you can ask Charlie more questions about his books. They are for sale in the museum store. And he comes to all our art festivals and signs books. And he is one of our most prolific and really popular authors today. So we are thrilled to have him and glad to be able to talk, to let you all get to know Charlie a little bit better. And it's been a great morning. It's been lots of fun. Thanks for joining me. We are almost
I've not even started.
I know. It goes so fast. I could talk to you all day, Charlie.
Are you going to be back?
Yeah. You guys have a great day. Happy Thursday.
We're off now?
Thanks for having us.